spoken poetry. Is there anything more wonderful? Lots of original haiku and senryu on the podcast today. Written by you, for you. My name is Patricia and this is the Poetry Pea podcast. If you enjoy what you hear today, please consider heading over to Buy Me a Coffee and supporting the podcast with a membership or by donating a nice cup of coffee towards the work Poetry Pea does for the haiku community. Today, Linda Ludwig, our YouTube editor, has chosen her favourite poems from the January video prompt. And then, she joined the rest of the editing team to read all the flashku you sent us. The editing teams have been busy little bees. There's probably a haiku in that. My thanks to all of them for their help, and to you for joining us and writing your haiku and senryu for us to listen to. If you're new to the podcast and have absolutely no clue what I'm on about, well, Poetry Pea has a YouTube channel. Head over and subscribe. You don't get much for free these days. You'll find lots of haiku resources there as well as the monthly video prompt. There's still time to be considered for February. Just leave your haiku or senryu in the comments under the video. Linda reads them all, I promise you, and she'll choose them from the comments. There's no need to send me an email. The flashku is, I believe, something Poetry Pea came up with. Poets on our mailing list are invited to send us one poem, haiku or senryu that is, and the whole editing team put their heads together to choose their favourites. All the chosen poems for the YouTube prompt and the flashku are read out on a podcast, just like today. And of course they'll be in a Poetry Pea journal. There's one out soon. If you are an ISA or a Busan member, you'll receive a PDF of the journal in your mail once it's out. News of its publication will be in a newsletter, another good reason to sign up on the website. Now, if you're looking for these poems on the show notes, I'm sorry, but they're not going to be there because I'm busy getting them ready for publication in the first journal of the year. I did mention it will be out soon, don't worry. So let's have some poetry, shall we? We'll start with the January video prompt. Thank you all of you who took part in it, and big thanks to Linda for reading every single one of your submissions. Snowmelt. How dull life is now you're gone. Snowmelt. How dull life is now you're gone. Tony Williams. Shift of wind, same time as yesterday, the dance of pines. Shift of wind, same time as yesterday, the dance of pines. Smiling with crickets. Winter walk, the sound of winter melting. Winter walk, the sound of winter melting. Kim Clue. No footprints on snow-covered banks. Waters murmur. No footprints on snow-covered banks. Waters murmur. Fumio. Ice drifts on the rocks. Our marriage. Ice drifts on the rocks. Our marriage. Laughing waters. So, that's it. Thank you very much. Again, to everyone who took part in the video prompt. And remember, there's a prompt every month and you're still in time to take part in the next one. Just head over to the Poetry Pea YouTube channel. So now, shall we hear who was successful in the flashku? And remember, every single editor in the team has a look at your poems for the flashku, and we make a joint decision. Terribly democratic here in P-Towels. Well, more or less. I'm a fairly benign dictator. So here we go. Cataract winter, the drift of snow on a lens. Cataract winter, the drift of snow on a lens. Peter Jastrzemski. Snow-filled graveyard, on the tip of a white cross, a black raven. Snow-filled graveyard, on the tip of a white cross, a black raven. Lisa, Germany. Empty bus to my town, the full moon. Empty bus to my town, the full moon. Andrea Chekon. 10,000 snowdrops on a hill. Diaspora. 10,000 snowdrops on a hill. Diaspora. Tony Williams. Sunlit raindrops, alchemy. Sunlit raindrops, alchemy. Shrini. A coating of snow, the horse nibbles yesterday's carrot. A coating of snow, the horse nibbles yesterday's carrot. Paula Sears. Leaf burning, a gale sends the ash back to the trees. Leaf burning, a gale sends the ash back to the trees. Arvinder Kaur. Clear ice, a biting wind blows away the fish. Clear ice, a biting wind blows away the fish. Anne Morrigan. Eating around the brown spots, winter apple. Eating around the brown spots, winter apple. Scott Wigerman. Desert snow, as far as I can smell. Desert snow, as far as I can smell. Victor Ortiz. Tatagaki, writing poems under the hanging ivy. Tatagaki, writing poems under the hanging ivy. Paul Callis. Do look up Tatagaki. It brings a whole new level to the poem. And now we get on to the honourable mentions from the Flash Coup. I have 3 for you. Cellophane wings. A dragonfly becomes a twig. Cellophane wings. A dragonfly becomes a twig. Christine Wenck Harrison. Abandoned orchard. Overripe persimmons return to earth. Abandoned orchard. Overripe persimmons return to earth. Charles Harmon. Slipping on the ice, I suddenly rediscover Grandpa's Gaelic. Slipping on the ice, I suddenly rediscover Grandpa's Gaelic. Michael Flanagan. I can really identify with that one, Michael. And last, and obviously not least, the editor's choice. Sanding the rough edges, desert fog. Sanding the rough edges, desert fog. Cynthia Anderson. Well, thank you very much for joining me today to listen to Poetry Out Loud. I've loved reading these haiku and senryu to you, and the good news is that next week there'll be even more as we hear the poems you wrote for the Honkadori prompt. I wonder, who are going to be nominated for the judges' choices? Well, actually, I already know as I spent some time with the judges recording their nominations at the weekend. So join me next week for lots more poetry and, of course, those nominations. I'm looking forward to it. See you then, but until then, keep writing. And well, the show notes are going to be a bit light this week, but you know what? You can go wherever you download your podcasts and leave us a review. That would be simply spiffing, or as Joshua St. Clair said to me this week, boffo. I hope I'm using that word correctly. If not, take it up with him. Ciao!